Kreitz Bazaar. Again. You step out of the van, climbing down into the tunnel leading back to your safe house. Just hours ago, you saved Berlin from fire and ash from the would-be sacrifice of Dr. Adrian Vauclair. It feels strange now, returning in secret, in silence. The other residents of the Kreitz Bazaar go about their business, unaware of what almost happened here tonight. It's finally over. Your team and your Kias are safe, once again. I think this is the first time I've read it faster than I loaded. Which makes me wonder what there is for it to load. Clean slate. Okay, what are these objectives I've got? Take the van to Harrow's compound. I forgot who Harrow is. No. Meet with the team. Here we are. The team's waiting for you when you walk in. Their faces are haggard, their shoulders slumped. Was there a point to all this analog? We lost Paul, lost Monica, the Kreutz Bazaar. So many people died. It was just supposed to be a simple job, remember? A milk run. Get into this state, snatch some data, and get home in time for worm talk on the Trid. There are no simple jobs, ever. That's part of the gig. Analog is right. A good runner knows that the run she's on is never what it seems. We're deniable assets to our employers, disposable goods. It's on us to succeed in spite of that. And honestly, that's fine with me. A soldier knows how to take orders and how to get the job done without worrying about the big picture. Leave that kind of thing for the generals. Show me the hill and I'll figure out how to take it. This whole thing about dragons taking over the world, the thought of them slowly hoarding everything, it's too big to think about. We're street level. We run the shadows, that's it. Worrying about these sorts of issues is beyond our pay grade. That's what they want. That's what they need. The corps, the dragons, the politicians, everyone. They want us to think that we can't make a difference. They put effort, a lot of effort, into making us feel small, insignificant. But we're not. We had the power in our hands today. We had a choice and we made it. And because of that, the world is different. For good or for ill. That's right, for good or ill. But we can't see the future. I don't think anyone can. But the world is different now, and we're the ones who changed it. So did we, did we win? I'll tell you what we did. We avenged Monica and Paul. That was what we set out to do, and we did it. You watch the team take this in. Iger nodding in agreement. Glory staring ahead, lost in thought. Dietrich frowning, eyeing the floor. Blitz fiddling with his deck and pretending not to understand. Iger breaks the silence. So what now? Monica's gone. Paul's gone. Do we keep running together, or is this the end of the road? I'm out. Glory's face is placid. I have some business to take care of. The personal, violent kind. Don't know when I'll be back. We'll be here, Glory. There'll always be a spot for you on my team. Glory nods. Understood. See you around. I'll miss you, love. Be safe. Dietrich turns to you. Well, I'm in. I'm getting the kind of old for a Shadowrunner, but I'd rather die in the shadows with you people than live. I don't know. I thought I had something going there. Whatever. The point is, I'm in. That was beautiful, man. Iger turns to you. So analog. You're gonna stick around with the Kreutz Bazaar and keep running the shadows with me? You've done a hell of a job. I'd be happy to follow your lead. If it means picking up where Monica left off and keeping the Kreutz Bazaar safe, I'm in too. Makes sense to me. Iger looks around, realizes that she forgot Blitz. What about you, Blitz? Oh, I'm in, most definitely in, totally. Insane dragons, assholes with enormous machine guns, devil dogs that hump your leg when no one's looking. This is the place for me, no question about it. How could I say no? Dante humped your leg? I don't want to talk about it. It's still too fresh. Edgar snorts a laugh, then she's back to business. Before I forget, the Turkish coffee guy sent one of his street rats over before he got here. Said he wants to talk to you about something. Thanks. I'm going to see what's going on in the Quartz Bazaar. I'll stop by the coffee shop on my way. Let's talk to Gloria one more time. See if we can't get the end of her story. Gloria looks up from her preparations at the sound of your approach. She offers you a slight smile. Analog, you got us through the night alive. Well done. You're headed off to Firestell, aren't you? She nods. That's right. You've convinced me it's something that needs doing. I owe you for that. Well, what are we waiting for? I'll go get my things. I've had a lot of time to think about this, Analog, and I've decided that this is something I need to do on my own. Are you sure? I'm willing to go with you. Oh, I want to go with you. Yes, I'm sure. Maybe if you'd approached me about it earlier, things would have been different. This is my fight. My responsibility. And I'm not afraid to face it anymore. So, you're not afraid. That's good. Doesn't mean that you couldn't use the help. A fair point, but I'm still going to decline. Don't worry, Analog. I can do this. And once I'm finished, I'm coming back. Alright, Glory. Good hunting. Thank you, Analog, for everything. So that's what this is. Take the van to the Harrow's compound. So I guess I could go with anyway? I don't know. Let's talk to everybody else. I'll admit it, you did a hell of a good job back there. I couldn't have done better myself. You'd have done fine, but it was my job to lead the team, so I did it. That's the right attitude. Anyway, I'll be looking forward to the next run. Just do me a favor, make sure that the client is properly vetted, and for the love of God, verify that the job has nothing to do with dragons. Done and done. Good man. She dips her head in salute. Until next time. Well, boss, we went up against the dragon and lived. He pulled a flask from his jacket and raised it as a salute. I guess that's a win in my book. Couldn't have put it better myself. So, any big plans looming on the horizon? New clients you're thinking of going after, maybe? Not just yet, but as soon as I know, you'll know. Takes a swig from his flask. You're right, boss. Of course you're right. Oh, and Analog, I meant what I said earlier. From this point on, wherever this team goes, I'll follow. I wouldn't have it any other way. Hey, Chief. That was a hell of a thing, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. I'm glad to hear that you'll be staying on with the team. He puts on a lazy smile and shrugs. Of course I'm staying. The team would fall apart without me. Of course it would. Say, how'd that situation with your ex turn out? Oh, I'd rather not talk about that. No biggie or anything, but I don't want to get into it. His face reddens slightly and he shakes his head. She was crazy anyway. Anyhow, Chief, why don't you go talk to the others? You know, spread the love around. I'm just doing fine here on my own. Sure. Oh, and Blitz, you've done a great job all around. Thanks, Chief. You too. Okay. I'm not sure if those were aborted quests that I could have gotten if I worked a bit earlier, but okay. Let's talk to who's this? Let's talk to her. Him. Algernon. Algernon appears to be waiting for you, though his expression is difficult to decipher. Behold, the Dragon Slayer. Absinthe. Do not mock the elf, Algernon Halfdream, but nor should you praise him either. For good or ill, the cycle of a great worm has ended. Never again will she walk upon this earth, nor soar over its mountains. This day is full of portent. How did you know about the dragon? A friend. When a dragon falls, the sound resonates across time and space. The death of a great worm is of interest to a multitude of beings, and Algernon Halfdream is among their circle. There will be a reckoning. Am I in trouble? Not this you, and not today. Her expression slackens, becomes dreamy. Within 3 cycles, what the world has lost, it shall rue. But the ice storm will come, the codex will be broken, and woe to the dancer. This I prophesy. That's a prophecy, all right. That vague gibberish. Algernon stares at her, lost in thought. Finally, he speaks. We must be going, and soon. Going? Where are you going? A guy I've never met before. Machu Picchu. It is in South America. I have business there that has become urgent. It will not be urgent until tomorrow, Halfdream. You have time to pack up your wares. There's more to it than that, woman, and you know it. He bows to you with a flourish. Goodbye, Analog. We will meet again, I think. Though not for a long, long time. Okay. That must have been a guy in that Shadowrunner bar that I never went into that much. Ah, how very propitious that it is that we may speak again, O Master of Mayhem. I have a proposal for you that could prove most lucrative to us both, Effendim. Most lucrative. Fortune will surely smile upon our blessed partnership, if only you will accept. I'm listening, O Master of Hyperbole. With the passing of Herr Amsel, may God bestow his mercy on him, you find yourself without a fixer. I wish to offer my services to you in this regard. You will find that Altug Bergazi is most connected and business-savvy partner. Sounds like a match made in heaven, Altug. How do we start? I have already found a potential client, O Blessed One. A most prosperous one with deep pockets. He is eager to meet you. When you are ready, take the U-Bahn to Brandenburger Tor. He will find you there. Brandenburger Tor. Got it. As soon as I finish up here, I'll go meet him. Okay. So, I finished the main quest. The rest of the game, it's just a bunch of side quests. Then, I'll probably end it here. As far as the playthrough is concerned. Let's answer the PDA though. This might answer some questions. Hello, who are you? Monica! It's Apex. An all too familiar face appears on the screen. She's frowning, and a look of incredible sorrow in her eyes. Oh, Ace, you've made a terrible, terrible mistake. Nothing should have the kind of power you were asking for. I had to do what I did. No, Ace, you didn't. You chose to do what you did, just as you chose to free me. I'm not afraid of you. The Monica image muscles begin to contort and stretch. Her mouth twists up into a rictus grin. You really, really should. Comm cuts off. Your PDA screen goes black. Oh, yeah, okay. You're not wrong. Brandenburger Tor. Did I get a bunch of karma from that? No. Slaughter the great dragon. Get no karma. The train car is empty except for the man in the immaculately tailored Italian suit. You notice him watching you for several minutes while the train rumbles its way toward Brandenburger Tor. Finally, he speaks. The stranger's words come out slowly in a deep, melodious tone that is easy to hear. Despite the noise of the train, he takes his time accentuating each word, relishing each vowel and each consonant, tasting them as if they were a delicacy. Hello. I assume that the business with the Doctor Vauclair is concluded, yes? Do I know you, friend? No, but you are about to. The man inclines his head slightly in introduction. Hans Brockhaus, I represent an interested party. Someone who wishes to know about your encounter with Dr. Vauclair. And how do you know about that? Brockhaus continues. My employer also wishes to hear about the Lady Fireschwing, a fascinating creature, so unlike her brothers and sisters. It is a pity that she has passed from this world. She was a magnificent creature, and the world is diminished by her passing. I am sure you would agree. These are all wrong answers. I don't give a crap about dragons, Hans. He inclines his head and the corner of his mouth curls into a bit of a smile. Of course not. You have your own important business to consider, who to rob, who to kill, where to get your next packet of soy jerky, that sort of thing. You are no more interested in the dealings of the great dragons than a moth is interested in your bank account. Yet one day that moth might be squashed under your foot without your even noticing. You look at a moth and barely perceive sentience. You glance its way, amused, as it flutters towards a bright light in a vain attempt to... what? To enter, to draw strength, to burn. It doesn't know. Its epic struggle is barely 1/100th of your lifespan. The sum total of its existence is nothing against the vast scale of your struggles, your hopes, your dreams, which you could not fathom in 1,000 years. Poor moth. He leans forward. You will live and die between the beats of a dragon's heart, my friend. What hope do you have of understanding them? I understand enough. The Firewing was a great dragon and she was insane. Perhaps you would be too if you saw the world through her eyes. My Lady Fireschwing was a nurturer, a caregiver, rare among her kind. Where her brothers and sisters saw the world as a prize to be won, she saw it as a garden to be tended. Can you imagine? For world upon world, the great dragon Fireschwing brought wisdom and succor to countless souls, and she was loved for it, exalted, a goddess. When she awoke from her long slumber in 2012 and saw what the world had become, what meta-humanity had done to the garden she had tended for great ages, she struck with the rage, regret, and frustration and anguish of a mother whose children had played with fire and burned the house down, killing themselves in the blaze. She unleashed fire and death through her tears. And now she is gone. The sixth world was her last. Time to cut to the chase, friend. Who are you, and what do you want from me? The representative of a potential client, a very influential client, and one who plays extraordinarily well. And he is someone who demands a modicum of respect. Now listen. The man removes his hands from his knees, folds them into his lap. I tell you all this so that you have context, perspective. And before I ask you this next question, Shadowrunner, if Dr. Vauclair's weapon had not required dragon fire, if it had been capable of destroying every dragon on Earth without touching a hair on humanity's head, would you have used it? No, wiping out an entire species is wrong. Yeah. Monochromatic thinking, but I appreciate a career criminal's attempt at morality. Of course, you feel that wiping out a species is wrong. The feeling is subtle, but an ingrained defense mechanism that should be cherished. One day it may be meta-humanity poised for extermination. Well, onto the business at hand. My employer wishes to secure your team's services for a series of operations that will likely require the remainder of 2054. It depends. Who's this mysterious employer of yours? It is no mystery. You'll be working for the great dragon Lufware. Perhaps you've heard of him. What makes you think I'm going to make a deal with the dragon? His eyes glint. Because you have already been working for him for some time now, mein Herr. Or did you think Green Winters find the Harfeld Manor on his own? Something tells me he didn't want the Firewing dead. Yeah. Perhaps. One might assume that the outcome could have been better suited to his interests. But then again, perhaps not. You are not in a position to know. It's easy to say that, but I'm not buying it. That would be a mistake. Underestimating an ancient dragon is never wise, Shadowrunner. My Lord Lofweir never makes a move without anticipating the next three. You will not know what his endgame truly is until it has come to pass. But you can choose whether to be on the right side or the wrong side of it. The rattle of wheel on track gives way to a shimmying screech. Gradually, the train begins to slow. He glances up at the U-Bahn map on the wall and smiles. Ah, this is my stop. Coming. Well, you never make a deal with the dragon. As you wish, Watersean? I don't even know what that means. The train comes to a halt and the doors open. Brockhaus stands, brushes off his Italian suit, and exits without another word. As you watch him leave, you look up to find an advertisement for Worm Talk above the subway car door. Brockhaus stops on the platform and glances back at you, the light from the car reflecting yellow in his gaze. The door closes, and he is gone. The train lurches forward again. It picks up speed and begins threading its way towards beneath Berlin, into the shadows. Berlin Newsfax contains just one report of a large-scale explosion in the countryside east of Berlin. An abandoned castle is reportedly consumed in a massive fireball that shakes the countryside and leaves a crater 60 feet deep. A natural gas leak is suspected, and the location is soon cordoned off by unidentified corporate forces. This news is eclipsed when Seder Krupp announces its acquisition of Arianespace, the last remaining arm of the European space program. The Flux State's anarchist rule remains until 2055, when joint corporate forces, acting with the support of the German government, invade the city. It's widely known that the Great Dragon Lofweir is responsible for orchestrating this action. After weeks of fighting, the surviving anarchists are forced to retreat to the eastern part of the city. A truce is signed in 2060, and Berlin is again divided by a wall. The Great Dragon, Dunkelzahn, is elected president of the United Canadian and American States in 2057. I love that dragon. He's promptly assassinated as he leaves an inauguration party at the Watergate Hotel while in human form. Popular opinion is that another great dragon is responsible, as only a dragon can kill a dragon. But those in the shadows hint that an act of powerful blood magic is the cause. Memories of Feuerschwing and of the Dragonfall fade further into obscurity, replaced by the media's fascination with the dating habits of the latest Simpsons stars. The name of Dr. Adrian Vauclair has since been lost to the shadows. Okay, that was much better than Shadowrun Returns in almost every aspect. I think the music in the first was a little bit better. This was kind of, it wasn't bad, but it was more, you know, ambient, fading into the background, and not as iconic. Some of the of Returns' music was based off of the SNES game, so that might have had something to do with it. But overall, great story. I love that ending. It was just like, talk about ending on a Shadowrun note. It was the way to end it. The way to end it is you were playing into someone else's hands the entire time, which is kind of like there were like levels of that increasingly going higher and higher, but the ending of Just As Planned is great. Yeah. The gameplay, overall, it's good. I think they need to rebalance the shotgun and sniper rifle range scaling quite a bit. It was, at times, it seemed almost completely random whether or not it would, you know, it seemed almost randomly generated. I think magic users had a bit of a harder time being useful, to put it bluntly. Maybe Shadowrun as a system is a lot more dynamic, let's say, than something like Dungeons and Dragons. So if I wasn't using the NPCs and I had my own character that was not min-maxed, and you know, I had a mage user with a gun, then maybe it would be a bit different. But Dietrich in particular was kind of useless for a lot of the game. I wish I could have tried a rigger in the party. Kind of weird that they didn't have one, but also understandable because it's not something that's really essential, and didn't have a whole lot of uses specifically for that, other than that one time where in Iger's side quest, where there was a chip in the drone, and I could just handle that on my own anyway, so yeah, kind of weird. There were a couple hallways with like vents and stuff that you could go to. Shadowrun Returns they seemed to make more of an effort to get every possible class. You know, they have their own you know, their own uses, and it seemed a lot more designed for all around utility than shoot your way through. There were a couple nice non-brute force methods in this, but I don't think that they paid off very well because they kind of failed. Honestly, it could have just been my my stats, but generally they didn't work too well. Okay, I think this is going through all the Kickstarter backers, so I'm gonna call it a day here, and as much as I'd like to point out my name, it's not worth it. So it's been a pretty good game here, aside from some technical issues, but what are you gonna do? So I'll see you around.